Hey fellas, well, once again, I'm inspired to combine some ideas I have of videos, so, an update what I'm working on my pre-E3 thoughts, which is not going to be too long, but just give you a brief rundown what the skills are going to be like, and a reaction to the second trailer for Space Jam: New Legacy, so first, I'm going to share I'm going to let you know what updates what I'm working on. I have gotten the scripts. I'm still working on various scripts. That's why the unscripted ones are easy for me to do. So don't involve as much recording editing time. I'm definitely. Hey, I've also gotten the ball rolling with the Spec and Action review, as well as another one's going to be tying into the next subject. That's after this cut here. And so, the second trailer, Space Jam: New Legacy, also just dropped earlier this week. I mean, ahead of its release, both theatrically and on HBO Max, next month, and it looks delightfully loony and bonkers. I mean, I have a soft spot for the original but even looking back, I realized how insane it was, and it definitely made quite a bit of money at the time. Well, it didn't come close to like Disney at the time, but still showed like a WB being a long-time rival of theirs. Theirs still had a few surprises, given how it made a respectable $230 million worldwide on an $80 million budget for inflation. And and I don't know about Ready Player One comparisons. If anything, I would keep suggesting this movie's going to be the antithesis of Ready Player One, because the main plot, LeBron's endgame is basically he wants to rescue and reconnect with his son, which is a much easier plot to figure out than what our Postwall is doing and why he's teaming up with the Toons. And as I was saying, I am liking what I'm hearing in Dai's version of Lola as well. I mean, it's distinct from both Katsushi and Poe's version of the character, so kudos there. And as for her algae rhythms endgame, I actually am liking how even just in these previews how Don Cheadle is definitely enjoying himself as playing a villain and like let me put it this way, like Swag Hammer in the original movie just wanted to enslave the Toons and Owens and MJ. He wants to potentially erase them from WB's existence, and just think people were on about Pepe being cut, and for the record, I liked him fine when I was a kid, but personally, if I had to exclude Bugs or Daffy, my favorite character would probably be Taz, man. And I'm still working on my script for Back in Action before this comes out, but still, the fact that there's everyone from like Batman, Superman, as well as all the Reigns characters, as well as like Calm, Fistbumping Iron Giants, consensus seemed to be more all Pepe Who. That's how quickly the cycle can go. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, and I will submit that it definitely would make a good Smash Brothers, or at least a good Mario Sports movie if we ever get that far. So yeah. Now comes my pre-E3 thoughts, given how the show officially starts tomorrow as the first one we've had since 2019, the before time, the long ago. Oh, and I'm not getting into too much detail here, as I am unique, as I do not speculate actively or comment on rumors like some people do. I mean, I'm by contrast, I am actually less inclined to believe rumors, given the situation, and not more. Or I mean, given how much is going on. I'm unfamiliar with Gorilla Collective, and given how the current situation with Ubisoft, I'm hesitant to get into too much detail about them. I know that some of those have got delayed till 2022, and it's going to be another one, and I'm not ruling out the possibility like that on stuff like Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Far Cry 6 might not work. But in the latter case, I'm always open to having Giancarlo Esposito as an antagonist, whether he's engaging with Walter White or the Mandalorian. And I mean, I'm also oh, really hoping that if they are doing a Splinter Cell, that's not like a PvP crossover and however, because given how we're shoehorning the cell segments into some of the other stuff, the they know how to make a stealth game. It's just that they're deliberately choosing not to, and I am not going to be using Ghost Recon for that. But still, but Devolver Digital shall be fun. Like they tend to be a in the highlights of even like the less impressive shows. I was in Gearbox to go either way. Hey, like the Borderlands movie is still in development, and I mean, I will definitely have to see how that goes. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have potential, but it's given how Eli Roth has made some controversial decisions as director before. I'll have to see where all this heads. Okay, so Microsoft and Bethesda, which is going to be the first E3 together as part, and now since the two companies merged, while some of the titles are going to be exclusive, like Starfield, the partnership thankfully hasn't affected after like the recent Switchpoint Doom Eternal, nor the upcoming Deathloop on PS5. And they've hinted that some of her games are going to be exclusive now, but as for other ones have been traditionally like on cross platforms, so it's on PC. Hey, we'll see how that goes. I am at least going to miss like some of the memes, given how each company they've picked up has been given enough money, resources to develop what they want on basically full carte blanche, creatively and financially. Hey, so Square Enix, given like Final Fantasy VII Intergrade remake has come out, as well as other titles, like such as the new Deus Ex and X Life is Strange installments, as well as some updates on this Avengers game, which is still trundling along. For the record, I did at least beat the first part of the story, and when I had my $1 PS Now subscription, and it was alright. I can understand a lot of people didn't care for it, and I didn't encounter that many bugs. It has been a bit better since the initial beta. I emphasize better, not perfect. It still needs a lot of work. A lot of work if it's going to continue. WB has now been scaled back to just primarily Back for Blood, which is going to be a spiritual successor to who Left 4 Dead, has a lot of same people involved with it. And other titles are going to be MIA because it got delayed to 2022, namely Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad game, as well as Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. If I were to remove the author's recent behavior from the equation, there was the fact that the lead developer recently left the project because he felt they couldn't deliver the quality they wanted in the time was given. That's evidently not a good sign. So, Take-Two, and despite the device reception and the enhanced version of GTA 5 for PS5 and Xbox Series still on its way, if I had to guess, yes, about GTA 6, which is heavily implied to be a return to Vice City after all these years. Whether or not they do like a modern dark humor social commentary or be unapologetically 80s like Vice City and Vice City Stories were, I'm open to the idea, but I don't expect to see it until next year at the earliest. What makes sense to 2022 is like 20th anniversary of that game, which definitely gives you an indicator of my pop culture age. Like, I was definitely another major video game forbidden fruit. I wasn't allowed to play it, but of course, I wasn't going to let that stop me. Capcom is going to have some updates about Resident Evil 8, as well as Monster Hunter Rise. I definitely finally made enough cash to finally get RE8 if I can find some place that has it in stock. Still not playing Reavers. Seriously, Capcom, quit trying to shoehorn multiplayer into single player series where it's not wanted or needed. Please. I'm also not sure about Monster Hunter Stories 2, given how I'm actually surprised they're making that one, given how the first one only sold about 700K worldwide, not even a million. And given how with Rise smashing records, and thankfully that terrible movie flopping didn't affect the brand too much, which it basically has much like those Resident Evil movies, the source of tale, let's say, like the Michael Bay Transformers did. I mean, some of the names are the same, but the tone and presentation are completely different. And I mean, yeah. And here's gonna be the big one. Okay, last but not least, Nintendo's first appearance at shows in 2019. And hoping to hear, I definitely expect to hear more about the anniversary of Pokemon and Zelda, as well as expected games are coming out for those. Hopefully we'll hear more about Diamond and Pearl remakes, Legend Arceus. As Breath of the Wild 2, I don't expect to hear very much more about it until 2022, given how long it took the first game to come out. I know. Rush game, forever bad, good game eventually good. As for Smash Bros., I could definitely think a dual reveal might be possible, I'm not certain. I'm not gonna get too much speculating characters, given how what happened with Steve, as well as like both Pyra and Mithra. But I will say this: I could go either way about Crash and Master Chief, given how the former, I think it could work, but actors had to okay it, given how he wasn't in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale either. And as for Master Chief, if I mean, I'm not the biggest Halo fan, and I also don't buy into like the Rule of Three theory. I've been associating Steve more with Mojang and Banjo more rare, because in general there hasn't been much Halo representation in any fighting games in general. Closest I've seen looks like Spartan 4v8 and like the Xbox ports to Live 4, so there's that. Needless to say, definitely be a very interesting show, even with Sony and EA once again seeing the show out. They have their own conferences. And anyway, it's about to say for now. By the time you see this, I'll probably have come back from an errand, so I'll definitely talk to y'all later. See you tomorrow for the start of the show.